This is Al Jazeera.
Hello, I'm Lauren Taylor. This is the News Hour, live from London. Coming up, 8 dead as gunmen linked to ISIL storm a luxury hotel in the Libyan capital Tripoli. Inside the devastated town of Kobani as Kurdish forces retake control after months of battles with ISIL fighters. Team Tsipras meet the Greek Prime Minister's new cabinet on a mission to end austerity policies. Mexican officials say the evidence shows 43 missing students are dead, but their families still want answers.
I'm Robert Adams with the Sport. Chelsea and Liverpool in League Cup action right now. Details in about 45 minutes. And then also coming up, it's been an exciting night of football at the Africa Cup of Nations. Find out who's managed to survive the so-called group of death.
At least 8 people are dead after an attack on a hotel in the Libyan capital Tripoli that's popular with foreigners. A security guard at the Corinthia hotel was killed when a car bomb was detonated. Gunmen then stormed the building. The siege lasted several hours before security forces eventually regained control. The site intelligence monitoring group says a Libyan group affiliating itself to ISIL has claimed responsibility for the attack. Victoria Gatenby has the latest.
The attackers set off a car bomb outside the Corinthia hotel. Masked men also stormed the building wearing bulletproof vests. There was a gun battle lasting several hours. It came to an end when the attackers blew themselves up after being surrounded by security forces on the 24th floor.
This was a multi-pronged attack that involved a car bomb in the parking lot of the Corinthia hotel. There are reports that an RPG was fired earlier this morning, and then the gunmen stormed the attack. So this was the hotel. So this was a very well-coordinated attack, an audacious attack on one of the most popular hotels in the city.
A group linked to the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant has claimed responsibility for the attack, but Al Jazeera cannot independently verify the statement. The Corinthia hotel in the Libyan capital Tripoli is popular with government officials and foreign diplomats. There have been violence and rivalries among militias since the 2011 NATO-backed uprising that toppled former leader Muammar Gaddafi. Libya is now under the control of 2 rival governments, each supported by armed groups engaged in daily fighting. Analysts say this attack could derail peace talks taking place in Geneva.
Both governments have come out and tried to attempt to, get some kind of political scores and political point scoring amongst both. So the Omar al-Hassi government, the GNC, has already come out and said, well, this is the work of the former regime, and it's already coming out from members of the HOR and from people allied to Operation Dignity that this is just, a case and story of the Muslim Brotherhood and the other Islamists that are in charge.
In July, foreign airlines stopped flying to Libya when the armed group Libyan Dawn took control of Tripoli's airport. Commercial flights from Libya to Europe resumed on Saturday, but the attack on this luxury hotel is a reminder that the situation on the ground is dangerous. Victoria Gatenby, Al Jazeera.
And some news coming into us now. We now know that 9 people were killed at the hotel. That's 5 foreigners and 4 Libyans. And this is in addition to the 3 attackers who blew themselves up. Further information coming in that apparently at least 1 Frenchman and an American national were among those foreign victims. Well, joining me now in the studio is محمد Zeytout, who's served as Algeria's deputy ambassador to Libya and is now a human rights activist. Thanks for coming in to talk to us. So how significant is this, if this is indeed the work of ISIL, this attack?
Very significant, and really the attack comes as a surprise. First, because Tripoli was secure and safe in the context Libyan compared to other towns, and secondly, because the government which is controlling Tripoli is a pro-Islamist government backed by revolutionary and Islamist groups, and it will be very surprising that ISIL will attack a friendly government and not the other government, which is in Tobruk, the rival government, which is backed by General Haftar and by the anti-revolution groups.
Was this in part about choosing the target then, in that it was a 5-star hotel and Westerners were using it, and perhaps a message to say that ISIL can can hit those kind of targets in places like Libya and North Africa?
That's the only explanation, because why it's quite surprising, because firstly, ISIL is not present in western Libya, but in eastern Libya, and exactly in a small town called Darna, near to Egyptian borders. Secondly, there is a fierce battle between the two governments, and the battle is going on Benghazi, Tobruk, and Derna, and all these are in eastern Libya, not western Libya. And thirdly, why an Islamist group will attack pro-governments, Islamist pro-governments, and leave the other governments, the rival government, which is backed by the Saudi, by the Emirati, by the French, and by all the others groups who are anti-revolutions. So it's quite surprising, honestly.
Do you suspect that actually ISIL might be claiming this when in fact they weren't behind it? Is that what you're suggesting?
I would say that's most likely. I mean, it happens in the past where some Islamist group, in fact, proclaimed or claimed that they have done some attacks, and in fact it wasn't there who have done it, but they want the media impact, and they want to say that they are there and they can harm whoever it's against them.
Interesting. You mentioned just in the context of what you were saying before about the fact that ISIL does have a presence in Libya, regardless of whether it actually turns out to have been behind this particular attack. Tell us a bit more about what they're doing there. I mean, is it running training operations? What kind of
It's a small group in a small town called Derna, which is in extreme East Libya, not far from Egyptian borders. And there are around 200, 250 armed men who said that they are with ISIL. But the main other groups, Al-Qaeda groups like Ansar Sharia, for example, or other groups are not ISIL, are even against ISIL. And they don't want ISIL to be there because they know that's a big problem. The Islamist groups in general, I mean, they are not happy to have them. And the fight, the big fight, the battle, in fact, it's in Benghazi, it's in Tobruk, it's in Derna, it's in Al-Bayda, and not in Western Libya, except maybe in a small town in Zintan, surrounding Zintan town.
OK, thank you very much indeed, Mahad Labid Zitout, for your expertise.
Thank you. Pleasure.